Hello everyone, my name is Dewey, and today Valve released a video on their new Steam Box controller. Now, for those of you guys who haven't seen the gameplay yet, you can go ahead and click this annotation up here, there we go, up there, and you can go see the gameplay demonstration. This is going to be analysis on what we saw. Now, in the demo, we've seen the controller, we've seen what it looks like, but we haven't seen what the gameplay will result in using it. And so what this did today was it showed us that. They showed off 4 different games, those 4 different games being Civ 5, Counter-Strike, Portal 2, and Papers, Please. So the first thing they demoed off was Portal 2, and what they called the setup that they had on the controller was the Legacy mode. Now the Legacy mode is having the right touchpad. The right touchpad is set up as a WASD, so kind of like a D-pad, and so that way it's like, you're just using WASD to move around, and then the right stick is controlled just like a mouse. Now, the thing that's not as impressive about Portal 2 being demoed is the fact that Portal 2 has already been ported over to a controller, and we know that it works well on a controller. So, that being said, I'd like to see a game similar to Portal, but something that maybe has not already been optimized for a controller. And I know that's hard because a lot of games nowadays have been optimized for controllers, but I think specifically that Portal 2 has been made for that, and so it's not as impressive. But I still like the one-to-one movement that was going around, and actually props up my next question that I have with it, is how familiar is the person operating the controller with the controller? Is this someone that has, had a lot of experience with games, but not necessarily a lot of experience with the controller? I would assume that it's probably somebody that has had a lot of experience with the controller and knows what they're doing with it, because they seem to have a very good control on it. Now, that being said, if it's not someone that has a lot of experience with it, that's really awesome, because we don't really know how intuitive that's going to be and how nice it's going to feel on our hands, people that have been playing games, people that will be playing on the Steam Box. Now, the second game that they showed off was Civ 5. Now, Civ 5, a lot of people are kind of looking at this kind of RTS-ish genre and seeing how well it worked, because that's the thing that's missing from consoles right now, right, is the RTS genre. You don't have a really good way to get the precise controls that you'll get from a keyboard and mouse on a controller. And although it's not something like a StarCraft or something like that being demoed, it seemed to have a pretty good control, but not anything more than what I'd expect from a controller. So I'm anxious to see more RTS-ish games, something like maybe a Company of Heroes, to see on the Steam Box controller, to see how well that plays, and to see if you can get anywhere close to the customability and just the fastness, the quickness that you get with the keyboard and mouse. Now, the third game that they showed off was Counter-Strike, and this is big, because this is a first-person shooter. This is what a lot of people are talking about. Is it going to have that twitch motion where you can twitch and shoot? Is that something that is going to come with this controller? And through the demo, again, I didn't really see the whole, the whole keyboard and mouse action of being able to instantly move over to another part of your screen and shoot that. And that's what people with first-person shooters, especially first-person shooters like Counter-Strike, are looking for when they look for something that could potentially replace the keyboard and mouse. And finally, you had Papers, Please. Now, I really liked that they demoed this game, because Papers, Please is a very, it's very centered around, Papers, Please is very centered around how quickly you can move your mouse. Now, so in each of the different ones, they demoed a different setup of the controller, and that's really what they try to hammer home, is the fact that their controller is really customizable and that you can map different things to it. And so I'm really excited to see more games come from this controller, and really, so I picked out 4 games that I'd really like to see them demo, and those 4 games are Company of Heroes. I think that's a good RTS that's already in the Steam library that can be demoed and really show off what this controller could bring to an RTS, if it can bring anything more. I'd like to see the Walking Dead game by Telltale Games, something that is really quick time event heavy, and I think that Telltale Games Walking Dead can show that off really well. Another game that I'd like to see is Torchlight, or Torchlight 2. one of those Diablo-esque games, and seeing how well that controls. And, you know, because it worked really well on the consoles. A lot of people like the controls for that, so I'd like to see how that does. And then, personally, for me, I would love to see a mount and blade, not mountain blade, but mount and blade demoed on there, because there's a lot of different actions that you have to use with your mouse and your keyboard, and interacting those two in the game itself. So I would love to see what this controller can present for that. That's all I have to offer you guys. Remember, hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more content come from the Steam box. And just as this continues to develop, they will be releasing these, they'll be releasing more of these videos. So I'm really looking forward to see what else they can offer. I'm hoping that the games that I listed, that they'll end up demoing, because I think they're all really good choices. And I'd like to hear what you guys want to think, what games you would like to see demoed. So, see you guys later.